The following comments were pulled from the Easy Allies Patreon page among our $10 and above patrons. They represent what our community was playing and talking about in February. I long for Zelda. Every waking moment I have without Breath of the Wild is a painful moment. March 3rd, I wait for thee. Since The Wind Waker, the Legend of Zelda series has been one of my favorite video game franchises. Whenever a new title releases, I already know it will be a great experience. However, I wasn't prepared for Breath of the Wild. I expected it to be good, but it is so much more. This is not only the best Zelda game I have ever played, it might just be one of the greatest games ever created. This might finally be the one Zelda game to dethrone Ocarina of Time. And it's not only amazing compared to other Zelda titles, it actually manages something almost no other open world game manages to do: create a living, breathing world with mysteries and surprises in each corner. And despite it having so much to discover, it never overwhelms you. While in other games your map is clustered with collectibles to find and side missions to complete, Zelda lets you discover the world at your own pace. Sure, there are quests to do, but it never feels like a chore. All the characters you find are funny or interesting, and each quest presents its own story. They all feel different from one another. Even stuff like item collecting or breakable weapons, which can be annoying in other games, is done perfectly in this one. No item is useless, you just combine them, throw them in a pot, and see what happens. Weapons break fast, but you get new ones just as fast, which makes it always interesting because you're constantly trying out new equipment. To top all that, the game is released on a new console that you can take with you anywhere you go. Can you guys believe this beautiful world looks that amazing on a handheld? Because it does. I have to say I'm a bit disappointed Damiani didn't give this game a full score, because it definitely would have deserved it. And after hearing the Allies predicting the GOTY in a recent podcast to be either Mario or Red Dead, I seriously hope they reconsider after playing Breath of the Wild. In my opinion, this is not just an amazing game, it is a milestone. It is a masterpiece. I will miss you, Allies. I'm going on a trip to Hyrule soon, and I don't know when I shall return. It has been fun, but it's now time to have an adventure. I'm going to be trying something different with the Switch. Usually I wait until much later to get the newest Nintendo console as a secondary platform, but this time, my best friend and I have decided to timeshare the Switch. We'll split the price of the console, games, and peripherals, and each person will have it for a couple of months at a time. As my time to play games can be pretty limited, I think this will help me appreciate that time more. My friend will have it first for Zelda, but I'll have it first for Mario. The only problem, we can't decide on the color. I'm Team Red and Blue, but it will be up to the universe and an intense game of rock, paper, scissors to decide. Only 2 pumps, and then shoot. I've gone from eagerly anticipating the Switch to overly concerned to unsure how to feel in the short span of a month. I won't buy one until after Mario Odyssey is out, so Nintendo has till then to win me over. I've got so many great games on my backlog, not to mention the games that are still on the way for 2017 that aren't going to be on Nintendo's new console. I guess what I'm saying is, I guess I'll wait for the Switch. I had the chance to play the Nintendo Switch in New York City last month. With that being said, I'm not making the Switch at launch, but I have hope for the future of the console, because hey, Mario and Donkey Kong are always great. One thing I must point out though is how great Sonic Mania was. It controlled like a dream. It was definitely the highlight of the event for me, despite it not being an exclusive. What a world we live in, that the best game at a Nintendo event is a Sonic game. What a time to be alive. I would want to address a very common misconception regarding the Switch: the price tag. When people started talking about it and the media started setting unrealistic expectations, it baffled my mind to see people actually expecting $250 and many of the same people now whining that Nintendo's new console is too expensive. We have to understand what we have in our hands here. This is not a home console and it is not a handheld. It's the first true hybrid. Thus, it never made sense to directly compare it to the existing products, which is how I think unreasonable expectations came to be. If we look at the technology market, a new concept is always introduced with a steep price because the development and hardware is usually more expensive, and it remains an expensive luxury item for the first years. Just look at VR. Not so in this case. What Nintendo did here is an amazing feat, at a really good price. I think we should all cherish that a little more. Only a few weeks before the launch of the Switch, yet so many questions. On the one hand, I'm extremely hyped. It's a new freaking Nintendo console and a new Zelda, max hype level. But on the other hand, there is so little else, and it's a long time to Mario Odyssey. I hope there will be something to do in the meantime. And please, a new Metroid. I don't know what it is, Allies, but this is the first new piece of Nintendo hardware I have been excited for since I heard that Nintendo wanted to bring us a revolution. I think it has a lot to do with a specific combination of things they have done this time around. The number one thing being that they have done a very, very good job showing that this is indeed a new console. With the Switch, they're coming right out of the gate saying this is new, this is exciting, and this will have everyone talking. I'm very excited to see what future the Switch holds, and I think that Nintendo should play their cards right this time. If the Switch is a console they have confidence in to really be the successor of the Wii and the 3DS, they need to show us. If it is, that means they're working on their big franchise games. I say they should hold one more live press conference at E3. Imagine a Nintendo E3 of dreams where they come out and reveal new Metroid, new DK, new Fire Emblem, new Kid Icarus, new Kirby platformer, new Luigi's Mansion, all in one conference, all with confirmed release dates before the next E3. But that's not all. They have a before you go we have a couple more things, and they reveal a fully fledged console Pokemon game, and then last but not least, give us a little 1-minute teaser of the next Legend of Zelda. Horizon Zero Dawn. I know that this isn't EZA's most anticipated title in early 2017, but oh my goodness, is it mine. I cannot wait to jump in and see what the world of Horizon is all about. I haven't dived into any of the recent Ubisoft open world games, as I tend to stay away from M-rated titles, but this one seems to be right in my wheelhouse. Bring on those map-filling mechanical giraffe-like dinosaur clock towers. I've been waiting to get my hands on Nioh for a long time now. I'm happy to report that the game is incredible. I definitely do have some issues though. Regardless, the game runs so smooth, and it's awesome to see Team Ninja return to form after Ninja Gaiden 3. Yes, we haven't forgotten. Nioh, the Onimusha, Bloodborne, Souls, and Ninja Gaiden hodgepodge. You came a day before my birthday and you have had me ever since. So rewarding, so visceral, such depth, well thought out and well executed game design. You have freed me from the mortal coil of sloppy games, and now I have transcended to the realm of gods. Ben, what have you done to me? I wasn't going to pick up Nioh, not my type of game, I told myself. I hated Demon's Souls, never played Dark Souls or Bloodborne, just not my thing. That is until I watched the discussion on the most recent Frame Trap and something just clicked inside me and I went out and bought this game. This beautiful fucking game. I died a million times at the first boss on the ship. I watched YouTube videos, I read walkthroughs and strats, I spent hours leveling up, nothing was helping. I came within inches of quitting this game, but your voice, like a shrill harpy in my ear, kept me coming back. Having exhausted all other options, with my back against a wall, I committed to just throwing myself at this boss over and over, like an unrelenting wave of blood and sinew, crashing on the rocks of defeat, until finally, a few hours later, it happened. I got good. After finishing the amazing Gravity Rush 2, I didn't have much time until Nioh came out. That game is superb, and as gameplay, I have not enjoyed as much since Dragon's Dogma. Everything feels right, and having things that aren't obvious is why it is a strong Game of the Year contender for me. Well done, Koei Tecmo. Mad respect for filling the void, mostly, that Onimusha and Tenchu had left for a decade. 2017 keeps giving us so many games and we don't have nearly enough time to play them all. Thank you for that, even if my backlog is getting bigger. I'd comment, but I'm playing Nioh. E3 is open to the public, something I've wanted for a long time. And if you would have told me 10 years ago, not the Santa Monica year, but the one afterward, that E3 was going to be open to the public, I would have been all over it. Yet as I've aged, I've come to realize that what I care about is primarily just two things: press conferences and the discussion around them. While going to the show in itself would be a lifelong dream realized, I wouldn't want to go to play demos. If anything, I would love to network, meet developers, connect with fellow allies if possible, and discover things not widely known. Adding 15,000 non-press, in my outside opinion, seems taxing on the surface. To venue personnel, event staff, press, and the ESA. To me, it's the ESA realizing it could make money without incurring additional cost. And with the $250 price point for 14,000 and $150 for the first 1,000, it looks like a pricing model of, how bad do you want it? If the public opening was just for 1,000 total, that would seem like a good barometer, keeping it at $250. It's going to be a Comic-Con type feel, where there's going to be so many people. My prediction, many but not all who show up are probably going to be underwhelmed and underestimate the waiting times for lines. Think about if Nintendo pulls a last year with Mario instead of Zelda. There's going to be some negative feedback. Not too bad, but a general sentiment that it should have been done differently. However, I really hope it works out. For me, as much as going would be awesome, I don't know if the networking opportunities would be there, and I'm totally fine not playing something I wouldn't play from 4 to 8 months to a whole year and a half away anyway. And the press conferences are not open, so the biggest draws of the show aren't even available. I'm just going to sit back in my living room, open up all of the Easy Allies reacts, pre, during, and post conferences and end-of-the-day discussion streams in a comfortable environment, and be entertained, disappointed, and lose my mind like I do every single year. And by the way, the For Honor Grand Final was the most epic showdown one-on-one fight I've seen in quite some time. ARMS! Guys, ARMS has button controls. Hype. The release of Fire Emblem Heroes caught me off guard. I thought my days of Shining Force were gone forever. Somehow this series just wasn't on my radar. Wow, it's amazing. I couldn't help myself but buy Fire Emblem Awakening instead of Nioh, and I am so happy with my purchase. Having a character die in Fire Emblem has elicited such strong emotion for me. I don't remember a time another game struck me so. While I'm looking forward to completing Awakening, I can't wait for the series to make the switch in 2018. I also just can't wait for my Switch pre-order in just a few days. I just purchased Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic for iOS. It was $6 and it's just a straight up port of the first two games. I know mobile games are far too plentiful to be given a ton of attention, but this game rules. If you had fun playing the original back in your Pentium 2 processing days, you'll love it in the palm of your hand. The Allies did their job. They hyped me for many games, but late January I bought a game that I never thought I would like as much as I did. I rarely finish games. I play them till I'm satisfied with them, and I go on. The beginning of this game hooked me instantaneously with an awesome setting and relatable companions, and the first step I took into Fairbury was magical, because of the incredible music, the shops, the villagers, and the situation you're in. What's even better, up to the end, the game gets better and better every second of it. I highly suggest that everyone play Dragon Quest VIII 3DS. It's the best 100 hours I spent in a while. There's a lot of hype currently in the gaming community, with a good number of high-profile releases and the Switch coming out. Most of that has been lost on me though, because for too many years now, Persona 5 has been the one thing in the gaming horizon that has had my full attention. After so many delays, and especially the last one, which is almost too much for me to take, the game is nearly a month away. I've already asked for vacations for the week of release, and my life will be put on hold until I beat the game. My hype levels are simply that high. March is going to be a long month, but on April 4th, years of waiting will be rewarded. I was planning to do a long, grim post about how a year ago a GTA 3 stream left a lot of hearts broken and people mourning for most of February. After careful consideration, I decided to just address it at the beginning of the post and move on to happier things. Ben mentioned recently that he would like to see a Sin and Punishment 3 on the Switch. That triggered my curiosity, and I decided to finally give the other two games in the franchise a go. I spent most of February playing the N64 game in the Wii Virtual Console, and let me tell you, I was in for a treat. I tried to play it on normal difficulty at first, but after getting my ass kicked so many times, I decided to take it down a notch and play on easy. Even so, this was no walk in the park. A couple of hours went by and I got to beat the game. I had such a good time that I put my big boy pants on and gave the normal setting a new try. While some of the strategies I learned in the first run helped, I still got my ass kicked multiple times. After a week of playing about an hour every night, I finally saw the end credits a second time. I thought I was done, but then I got the pleasant surprise that a new hard difficulty had unlocked. With no more analogies to use, I just hit start once again, and man, did this game just turn relentless. After a couple of weeks struggling a few nights a week, I finally saw the end credits for the last time. The only word that comes to mind to describe this Sin and Punishment is cool. The aesthetic, story, and characters make it feel like an anime. The set pieces are out of control too. I still can't believe Stage 2-2. I don't want to spoil the game for anyone, but that whole stage is one of the craziest and coolest things I have ever seen in a video game. Also, the music fits the atmosphere perfectly. I've had those tunes in my head all month, and I'm not tired of them. And now, I'm ready for the sequel on the Wii. I'd like to issue a friendly reminder to those eagerly anticipating the next Marvel crossover, be it Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite later this year, or the cinematic Infinity War in 2018. A game exists that brings every desirable Marvel character under the player's control, free of the shackles of studio ownership or console exclusivity, with both a story and setting that are respectful, surprising, and fun. Plus, as a wise Kyle Bossman once said, it's the best game where you can fly around as Iron Man. It's called LEGO Marvel Superheroes. And it's awesome. I decided to take it easy this month. The game I would like to call out was Limelight, a nice chill little puzzle game that, with the colors and music, was absolute zen. It was the calm before the storm for me. Lots of great titles are coming. It's a damn good time to be a gamer. February almost saw me drop Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes from the mobile games I play. Its competition has become the extremely similar DC Legends and brand new Fire Emblem Heroes. Galaxy of Heroes has become so convoluted with all its stats, gear, modes, and currencies, and how time-consuming it has become for a silly mobile game. Worst of all, it just became not fun at all to play anymore and felt like a chore. Originally, I came here to rant how I wanted to quit, but I've amassed such an inventory of characters since it launched that it felt so wasteful to just quit it cold turkey. At this moment of weakness, the developers announced a quality of life update, which addressed some of the issues I had. It was enough to keep me playing into March. The 4x speed is wonderful, and I cannot express how happy I am with the number of squad configurations I can save now. Since PSVR's launch, every time I've been in a GameStop or Best Buy, I've asked if they've had any physically in stock, to which the answer has been no. Until earlier this month, I got the unit itself and Until Dawn Rush of Blood. I've heard some people complain about the shorter length of PSVR titles. However, it turned out to be the perfect length when me and a small group of friends made a night of switching off levels and enjoying good food and drinks. The complete and creepy immersion of the mountain roller coaster and the silly reactions from the others with the headset on as they received a jump scare. I can't wait to see what the future of PSVR will bring. It's my busy season at work, so I haven't had much time to play games this month. However, I always enjoy keeping up to date with games through Easy Allies. Listening to your podcasts and videos always help make my day better, and I appreciate the work you guys do every day. It's great that a year later, you guys in the EZA community are still here, and not leaving anytime soon. Late last year put a hole in my wallet as I tried to purchase every game that was well received. This year isn't looking good as I already have my sights on a multitude of games. Nioh, For Honor, and my most anticipated game this month, Horizon, were must-buys with the possibility of Nier Automata. On top of all of this, I pre-ordered the Switch with Breath of the Wild. Guess I'll have to say goodbye to my social life like an anime fan on prom night. We're only a month and a half into the year and we're already overflowing with quality gaming. Q1 alone is stacked, not to mention Mario Odyssey and Red Dead Redemption 2 this holiday. On top of that, we're getting 2 console launches, and who knows what will be announced at E3. Top 5 gaming year of all time, I'm calling it right here. I might just soil myself with excitement. No, seriously, get me a diaper, I can't handle this. What does Waluigi say when he's neglected by Nintendo? Oh-ah! It wasn't easy. It took me several years of dedicated gameplay and many hours of planning and scheduling. But finally, I've reached my goal, and today I can proudly say I'm a gamer, and I finished every released game I wanted to play. Of course, this achievement will not last for long, and by the time this video goes up, my hands will be full with Horizon Zero Dawn, Nier Automata, Mass Effect Andromeda, Gravity Rush 2 DLC, and Zero Escape, the Nonary games. But as I'm writing this, I'm a happy gamer who had platinumed his backlog. We here at the Easy Allies community are respectful, inviting, and loving, but nevertheless, we are all at least occasionally guilty of judging others at a glance. That's just human nature at work. I'd like to share an anecdote that has helped myself in resisting the urge to make assumptions about others, and maybe it'll help you too. Back in 2006, I was working at a convenience store. One regular customer had the typical persona for the local population. He was heavily interested in working on modifications for his pickup truck, smoked Swisher Sweets mini cigars, frequently wore stained A-shirts, and he wasn't exactly progressive in his vocalized viewpoints. One night, after a friendly chat with me at the register, he said, "Well, I gotta get going, I'm about to miss Doctor Who." Keep in mind, this was in 2006, before the show had become popular in the United States. "You watch Doctor Who?" I replied, legitimately dumbfounded. "Yeah, man, it's my favorite show." "Oh, who's your favorite doctor?" I promise, I'm not making this up. Remember that fandoms have no boundaries. After all, Huber loves shotguns, axes, horror movies, professional wrestling, and Gilmore Girls. Thank you, Allies, for creating the best forum for discussing video games. I can come here and get my latest video game news, fix, and hype, which is greatly appreciated because I'm a video game cheapskate. I consistently get gaming consoles 2 to 3 years after their release. Just recently, I compiled a list of 167 games I am going to get for older systems while I wait for the new tech to meet my cheapskate tastes. But I'm not alone in my love for older games. EZA is a beautiful place where discussions of 20 to 25-year-old games are just as appreciated by the community as any of the newest releases. I love this community. Now excuse me while I go play some Chrono Trigger. Boom.